The Seer, Violets in the Grass, by Jessica Ariel Morocco. Chapter 13. The Internal Clock of Poetic Insight. After collecting many of the timepieces and beautiful watches hung from many chains, I observed them all being collected inside of my brain. My internal organs began to chime, and the gears of a clock became all of my insides. It ticked and talked with spokes that wove around. I could hear the gears churning as I turned around, and in my thoughts were as clear as the most beautiful fountain of water falling to the ground. I could gesture each motion with precision of the most detailed decision, and flowed to a poem of perfected ligaments in action. It was smooth sounding, spinning, not a bundle of metal in a noisy contraption. This soared in my soul. I didn't have to do as I was told. The clock kept winding inside, so I never needed to be restored. It kept moving into space. The time it could erase and release a new moment to every unfinished place. I am not a timekeeper, but rather a time seeker. The levers and gears of untold many features, it evolved or stood still. I could travel at will, and be one with the time travelers, who could learn how the universe could heal. Take me back to the place where there was nothing but hate, and I would erase the bad taste of that place. Of the future I was told to be not so very bold, but to listen to the earth with pendulum, of course, see the flowing in the waves and ebbing as it strays, and do nothing else to change how the natural earth should arrange. And what about the souls? There are so many people, I was told, who fly to heaven through a gate and never tarry until it's too late. The folly of the guides, whose hearts seem open wide, tell all of them to serve the desires of the specific word. But the word speaks from our hearts. We do not need instruction as they wish to impart, but to rather hear the still small voice of the source who has spoken from the start. Listen. Can you hear it ticking like a clock? A timer beats of energy and flows right into your heart. I love you, it ticks. Don't fall for the deceiver's tricks. Get quiet and use your own wit to see how everything inside you and around you does fit. Click, click, the gears are now transfixed. I am human, and yet I am mixed. The gears tell me when to switch. I am a human, yet also a clock that ticks, not a robot or metal that is transfixed. No computer, no glass, no magic mirrors of the past. It is a pureness of light to keep the time just right. There is no harm to be done, only time to behold. It is not the treasure, power, or any of the gold. It is not another way that the universe wishes to scold. It is merely a neutral place to find peace amongst our race and find how the beginning can never be replaced, or all sinning keeps recording on a specific clock's face. The good, my friend, should never end, and we shall delight to see the victory in sight. Though contrast exists, a bit of darkness can twist, to compare the difference when the conscience is misconstrued during the day or night. This is now the time. This is now the hour. There is a clock ticking to ring from the clock tower. The clock within me is not something you can see. It is only a reminder that the truth of all life doesn't need to forever be a mystery. You should listen to me and write this down. Your soul is turned around. You live your life wearing a frown. There is nothing that delights you, and all has been a burden from toe to crown. So consider this one thought, shall we tarry? With our sorrowful thoughts, or seek other ways to lift up our heavy heart. Have joy to share to everyone near, and don't live in a bubble, or you may find yourself in trouble. We need to be connected, and the lifeline will be resurrected as we join into a spectacular world that has never been concocted. Oh, don't listen to the naysayers, the negative deriders, the ever-fiery fighters, and the simple-minded squires. They are blinded to this truth. You may have seen it before you lost a tooth. The wisdom of your awakened eyes are not from basic human truth. There, in the deepest of our heart, is the ever-seeing eye of the God from above, and below, the teardrop blue sky. Okay, so this chapter, chapter 13, The Internal Clock of Poetic Insight. So, as you can see, it's mostly a poem. And it kind of covers all different types of ideas regarding time. Now, I talk about and act as if I have all of these wheels or gears or all these different things that are churning inside of me. But in many ways, every single one of us is connected to this aspect of time. And time is something that seems to relate to our existence. Not just seems to, but is highly significant. And I very much doubt that we would exist without time. So as I go through this kind of a journey, describing my many feelings, tuning into the very time, existence of time, almost as if I become as one with it, experiencing the actual feeling, whether it's actual cogs of a clock and the churning of time, or being figurative of the very expression of time itself. And at the point where I say that I am not a timekeeper, but rather a time seeker. In many ways, we are guided by our time. We wake up, we schedule meetings, we discuss things with people. Some people go to work. Some people connect to family. Some people connect to many different things. To such a point that time is very, very important. We wake up at a certain time and think, well, I'm not supposed to be awake right now. Everything is conducted in such a way that we connect into time. And for many of us, we've become aware of time traveling. Someone that can transcend time, experience time in a different way, not necessarily be ruled by time, but actually become at one with time. But is it our place to travel through time, to change certain things, to change our own timeline? Whatever is allowable, I'm sure that as long as your intention is within the highest good, you keep to that construct and respect it, knowing that your very existence is connected to time. So I say, take me back to the place where there was nothing but hate, and I would erase and erase the bad taste of that place. I think many of us feel this way. We'd like to just undo some of the terrible things that have happened, but maybe some things needed to happen in order for us to grow and get to that next level. Which brings me to the other thought that I had when I was reviewing this chapter, is that maybe it is now time for the next chapter of our experience. As many of you have come down this road some have just joined in and have started to explore some of the things that show different shows and different things that I've discussed. But what's happening on the planet, what's happening in the universe, in one way or another, some of us are all synchronized. And as I talk about certain topics, I notice that many have an awareness of this already. Even if many others aren't talking about it literally, it's kind of a window of information. And when the clock hits a certain time, in time-space, and those that wake up, like we wake up from our alarms or our clocks in the morning, and then we recognize why we're here and what we're doing. And this is not a part of mind control. This is not anything related to anything that's not organically brought through in us. Is my soul awakened, and couldn't have awakened any sooner. I'm pretty positive of that. I had to go through a series of events, but also think of a watch that has multiple clocks faces on there, some representing different parts of the world, and then one being, of course, the current time in the time zone that you're in. Likewise, imagine the time of your own personal time, the experience of what's happening at the current time in your life, in addition to your timeline, in addition to the timeline for the earth and humanity. And so we all align, remembering the things that we already knew, but as the facades begin to fall off of us, we come back to our remembrance. I say in this poem, I am human and yet I am mixed. The gears tell me when to switch. I am a human yet also a clock that ticks, not a robot or metal that is transfixed. No computer, no glass, no magic mirrors of the past. It is pureness of light to keep the time just right. We're aligned with the divine, the highest sense of God, source, energy, however you perceive it, whatever name that you want to call it. And that is also connected to time. Time is limitless. It just keeps going. And there's a saying that time will keep moving, whether you're ready for it or not. So you might as well, move with it, flow with it, kind of keep pace with it, so you don't miss out the many different things that happen along the path. So, and I also say that there is a clock ticking to ring from the clock tower. The clock within me is not something you can see. It is only a reminder that the truth of all life doesn't need to forever be a mystery. You should listen to me and write this down. Your soul is turned around. You live your life wearing a frown. There is nothing that delights you at all and has been a burden from toe to crown. So consider this one thought. Shall we tarry with our sorrowful thoughts, or seek other ways to lift up our heavy heart? Have joy to share to everyone near, and don't live in a bubble, or you may find yourself in trouble. I know people want to protect themselves, but this is a way that if people are aware of you, and people know that you are having a difficult time, And if you are in any situation where you are considered contrary to anyone around you, that it's wonderful to know that someone's looking out for you. Don't isolate yourself. One of my greatest freedom that I had was to come forward and share many of the thoughts and information that I had, which helped trigger people to open up and remember the things that they remembered. This book, as well as my other book, was written 2011, around 2010, 2011, before it published in 2012. But I tell people the book, The Seer, many people have read the book, The Seer, and have said this reminds me very much of my life. And as I explored and started going through these many different experiences, things opened up, and if this book is able to help jog your memory, shift you, and help you to remember the simple things that happen within our history, within our generation, then use this and review, not to replicate, of course, because that doesn't make any sense, but to review what your experience was in your timeline. You had different challenges, you had different experiences, but on some level, we were all like the many cogs in the wheels that go within time, all connecting and aligning in the same way and arriving at this point together right now. So many times we get frustrated, and I probably will be the first one to say I've been frustrated. And here in the last paragraph, it says, "Oh, don't listen to the naysayers, the negative deriders, the ever fiery fighters, and the simple-minded squires. They are blinded to this truth. You may have seen it before you lost a tooth. The wisdom of your awakened eyes was not from basic human truth. There is the deepest of our heart, is the ever-seeing eye of God, from above and below the teardrop, blue sky. It's ever around us. We are eternal beings. Our soul transcends all things and aligns with time." So thank you for listening.